to go through a dark place. And
what does that dark place look like? What does that look like?
the dark place,
Yeah.
it's a place that everyone needs to go to find themselves. That's what the dark place is. The dark place is a place that everyone needs to go to find themselves, and you're only gonna live your best life and truest life and most fulfilled life once you go to that dark place, if you ask me. And if you don't go to that dark place, you're not gonna live your truest self, because you're gonna be scared of the dark parts of yourself.
Music, how's that sort of helped you in like sort of dark times? And sorry, what's the inspiration of the music come from?
Music, for me, it's always been kind of, it's been therapeutic, because it's helped me release. For me, music's a part of, it's a form of therapy for me, because it helps me release. Some people might journal, write down stuff to release it. Some people never release stuff and they just hold it all in and it just bungles them up. You get me? Yeah. So that's just me. For the person that I am, I have to release in some way or form in it, and music is just an avenue for me to release.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm your host and welcome to Truth and Bantz UK. My name's DDubz, and I've had the pleasure to be sitting in the hot seat. And I say the hot seat, I am presenting the show today, unfortunately for you guys that out there that were hoping to see Flash on this side of the seat. He's on the other side of the seat. So we're gonna be asking him some questions. We're gonna be stripping the armor away, and just kind of find out a bit more about who Flash is and who the person behind the mic who usually has the presenters there with all the questions lined up. We've literally got the questions for him. So we're gonna find out a bit more about him. We're gonna ask him all the questions, and we're just gonna go straight into it. All right. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Talk to me. Let us know a bit more about you.
Me, North London, Islington. That's where I come from. North London, Islington. So, yeah, that's where I come from, North London, Islington, around Holloway area, N7, postcode that I grew up in, yeah.
And what was it like growing up? I mean, I know, both your parents, I know that there's one half of you is from Jamaica, and the other half is from...
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia. What was it like growing up in a Caribbean home?
What was it like growing up in a Caribbean home? Boy, how do I answer that one? It's crazy. But it was just me. My dad never lived with me, so it was me, my mum, my older brother. It was a Sunday soul food on Sundays. Maybe go and check my dad on the weekends. Share the room with my brother. You remember you've been there, old school. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was good. It was loving, and yeah, there was love in the house, and there's nothing I can really complain about. It was a good upbringing. It weren't the richest, it weren't the poorest. Yeah. So yeah.
And what were kind of like a few of the things that you kind of took from that growing up? What kind of things did your mum instill in you from like an early age?
I had instilling from both my mum and my dad from early age.
And sorry, the reason why I asked what kind of things were you instilled in from mum, because there's probably a lot of differences between things that she would have taught you in house and things that you would have learned from your dad outside the house or from his house. What was the difference?
I say my mum kind of taught me in the house, just maintaining the house, maintaining your home, being what's the word? Clean. What's the word?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. That sort of stuff. I think that's what my mum instilled, and just presentation. And just looking after myself. I would say. That's what I was saying. Make sure when you come out the house, you're looking good in it. You got everything. You got clean boxes. All those stuff. You never know what can happen. All those stuff. I say. That's what my mum instilled into me. Looking back.
What were the few things that you learned from seeing dad on the weekends?
My dad was more, my dad was more righteous, so he was like on a righteous kind of thing, kind of path. So he was more on a, because he come from the Windrush era, and I think maybe when he came here, like he had to deal with like a lot of instances like with racism and stuff like that. So I think he just instilled like a one love kind of thing into me, like love your brother. Like a lot of people, a lot of times, like there might be a little self-hate within the community. So I think he kind of instilled like, yo, love your brother, and yeah, have unity between you and your brothers, basically. I think that's, yeah, and just love yourself, be proud of yourself, and yeah. And and there's just instilling greatness just in me, and that is within me. So I think that's the part he played, and loving who I am. Because sometimes in this country and in this world, sometimes you might, as a black person, you might be like, "Rah, everything's against me, utter against me." So I think he kind of instilled like, "Yo, you come from more than that slavery," because that was the kind of the narrative that they was pushing them times. You get me? Even in school, they played us roots and that stuff, you know. So he was just kind of just letting me know that, self-awareness, self-empowerment, I would say.
You know, it's interesting, us growing up, because, you know, we've known each other for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily always know what's going on in people's households. I know that obviously growing up in my house, it was a single parent home, so there was no father figure at all. And I think my mum actually tried her best, whether it was church, uncles, cousins, to have me around a lot of sort of masculine male models, role models. Did you find it challenging not having your father there full time? Or do you think your mum may have found it challenging not having him there full time and she had to do the majority of the work? Like, how was the dynamics?
What was the first question? Did I find it?
Did you find it challenging, or did mum find it challenging?
I would say my dad more instilled like discipline. So I would say my mum would have had it more challenging, not having, or maybe women in general may have it more challenging with a man not being in the house, because especially if you're raising a male child.
And two at that as well.
Two at that. So, sometimes I think us as males, we can sometimes undermine the woman, and just kind of, it's not as a faithful figure. So sometimes they might get the call, and that will be, as a son, will be instilled a fear in me but with the mum, I think that I could maybe more get away with it and more lean on on the emotions that women have, because as you know, women are more emotional than males, and use that to kind of get away and do what I need to do and get away with my little whatever. That's what I would say in a nutshell. Yeah.
What were your favorite programs growing up?
My favourite programs growing up as a kid, I guess Will Smith, Fresh Prince and those sorts of stuff, I say. Fresh Prince, what else used to come on? Like, I was a guy that I come from a household, I never had no Sky in my house. So sometimes
1 to 3 or 1 to 4.
I had 1 to 4, so sometimes even like my people that might have had Sky, they might have recorded. Because I know there's certain like music and stuff that was on MTV, old raps and that, so they might have recorded some of that stuff. But my programs growing up was like, I'll say like Fresh Prince, Desmond's, those sorts of shows, the kind of ones that, the ones that Will McCoy. Those were the ones that I grew up older, if you're talking there.
It's funny how like this generation will never really truly understand like how hard or how great it was growing up, and how where you kind of had a cassette tape that you'd put in a cassette player and literally record either your favorite radio stations by pressing hard on maybe 3 or 4 buttons to recording, you know, your favorite TV shows off of Friends TV and recording it and make sure that it's stuck on that same channel for it to record and pick up on the VHS tape, you know what I'm saying, and then press play and then obviously watch it over.
Yeah, I know,
and
crazy.
If someone changed the channel, you'd obviously literally get whatever you had from that channel. But I think, you know, growing up was obviously the sweetest times. But when did music start playing more of like an important role in your life? So I know obviously you've been an artist now, but then when you were growing up, what were you listening to? What was playing in the house?
What's playing in the house? In the house, like, for my musical journey, I would say in the house was like, a lot of the music I would say would come from my older brother. Yeah, pick up my older brother, I don't know. He would play like, he had a lot of CDs. He would play like old school hip hop, like that was kind of before my time. I don't know, what was the old school hip hop that he would play? Maybe, I don't know, maybe like, old school LL Cool J, or like, some underground ones, EPMD and stuff like that. Heavy D stuff. Like I can't even remember some of the tracks. Them old school all the.
Yeah.
It was that. It was like that.
Like a mixture of hip hop and R&B.
Mixture.
Did you hear reggae much?
Eric B and is it Eric B and
Rakim
and what's the one with the green eyes?
Eric Sermon.
Eric Sermon, yeah. That kind of era.
Yeah. And what was Mum playing? Was Mum playing any sort of like
Mum
records
was more
like
play soulful, maybe some Shaka Khan or something.
Yeah.
Some ain't no stop. No, is it ain't no stopping us now?
Okay. Yeah.
That sort of stuff. And yeah, that's that sort of stuff. I say Shaka Khan, and then when I go to my dad's, he'll be playing like more. He was on the more kind of roots and reggae kind of thing. So when and jazz and soul. So he had when I went to my dad's house, he would just have bare vinyls. Okay. So he had bare vinyls. So it'd just be like a lot of roots and reggae, Bob Marley, that sort of sound. Gregory Isaacs. Then he'll have some soulful stuff as well, some jazzy stuff. So yeah, that's where my music influence will come from. I'll say coming up.
So hearing all those different sounds, when did you first fall in love with like a specific genre? Maybe it was R&B, hip hop, an artist. When did it actually filter to you that, you know what, I love this. This is what I want to do later on in life. Who did you hear? Who you listening to?
Who's out here?
Who's your favorite artist?
Who's my favorite artist? I don't know who was my favorite artist. I don't know who my favorite artist was, you know. I used to listen to Nas. I got into Tupac, got into Biggie, got into LL Cool J's early stuff, like maybe Hey Lover and that stuff. Yeah. So I had different kind of. LL was more, but actually, I was gonna say he was more of a lover guy, but actually I was gonna say he had some hard stuff as well. Mama gonna knock you out and stuff. Yeah. So I say sort of that stuff, and then I just felt this when it come to the reggae and stuff that my dad's played. I kind of felt the spirit, like I felt like there was a spirit in the music, like that was intertwined with my spirit. So kind of uplifting. So I think that's the early stuff. Foxy Brown, and I had a lot of cassettes. Yeah.
Nice, man. Because I know that they run, you know, in your teens, and we're still talking about teens here and growing up, you turn into like an MC, and that was something that you used to kind of like do maybe.
Yeah.
How serious was that for you, and when did that start? What made you want to become an MC in terms of the garage genre than opposed to like the hip hop?
I don't know exactly, but I don't know. I think I just started writing lyrics. Maybe I just started rapping people's lyrics, and after it just went into me writing my own lyrics. And then at that time, it was house and garage that was like kind of coming up, that was popping. You get me?
Yeah.
And that's what people was being creative with at that time. But there was hip hop as well, but the hip hop weren't as big in this country. Maybe it was big, but I wasn't in the loop of it. So I know there was like maybe some old school Rodney P and that, and some London Posse, but them days Skinny Man. So I did get into Skinny Man and that a bit after, but I say I got into the American hip hop first, and then certain times back them days when I first listened to hip hop, a lot of the UK artists that was spitting hip hop was spitting it in an American accent.
Okay.
It was like a little while, only certain people was doing it in the English accent. But but the garage was like kind of just all kind of, or for me, it was like all kind of just authentic, just a UK sound, UK everything. So that's how I got into it. I had a couple people that was DJing in my circle and that. As you know, big up Browning, DJ Browning, you get me, still doing this thing. And DJ Cooley, I think DJ Cooley might have retired, but Fearless Cooley, like, get back on it. That's your passion. Used to be big DJ. Absolutely. Don't let it fall apart. You can still
just be
you can still introduce that into your lifestyle. That's so right. But that's how I got into. That's basically how I got into it. And then I liked, I thought I could rap. I thought I was lyrical. So that's how I got into it.
And later on, obviously with the same people, Browning and and Cooley, you guys formed a group called Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
How did that come around? How did that come around, and where did that take you guys? Because again, we're still talking about the era where a lot of people flying out to INAPA, and you know, there was a lot going on the scene. Do you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't how you dressed, it was definitely how you rapped, what you were doing.
Yeah.
How did that come around?
That come about by Browning's always been a DJ, and I think Cooley, I don't know, he's always bought records from early.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't never a DJ, but I was part of the crew, and I don't know how, but I just ended up being a mic man. So from that led me to doing clubs. Finch was playing in maybe Finchley Park first, that's the hood. Finchley Park, Phoenix. Club Phoenix now might be Orleans now.
Yeah.
Right, in Finchley Park, right on the corner there, right before it used to be upstairs and downstairs. And that used to be just bare people from the area, girls, man, them. So first I started there, just doing a little mic man thing, doing my little MCing thing. Then we was on the radio. We was on Mission FM.
Yeah.
That was in the
Freak
area.
FM as well. Freak FM.
Then after he was on Freak FM as well. So that was kind of that journey. Then from them we used to do different raves, different spots. Temple, MC'd in Temple back in the day. That's closed down now for the people that know. So I've got to explain this stuff. Basically, that was in Tottenham, but that used to be a big club where even American artists used to come there when Westwood used to do his thing, perform. So I performed there, like a couple different clubs. Like I performed that, just MCing as an MC, garage MC. Yeah, so that was that part of the journey.
So outside of like music and MCing, were there any other passions in life that you kind of like, that you were interested in, that you wanted to kind of like, I say, delve into?
Not really. I think, is there anything, a passion that I want to delve into? Not that I can really think of, to be honest with you. I was just living. I was finding my feet. Music. I knew I had a connection with music, and I weren't too sure where I was going, to be honest.
Yeah, I find that, you know, today's generation, they have so many tools. I mean, for someone that kind of works with young people, we you know, it's my responsibility to give them a lot of tools in entrepreneurship, you know, different jobs and different things that they can kind of use to kind of like, you know, better their abilities and get them out there. I feel like when we were growing up, we were very, very limited.
Yeah,
the jobs were limited, or whether, you know, it was a thing where our teachers would come to us and say, well, you could be a carpenter, you could be, I don't know, a bus driver, or you could be this and that. And then our white counterparts, or, you know, other people in the class were given more opportunities. I think also within the household as well, there's a different dynamics. Were you encouraged as a young person to kind of like be more of an elite? Were you exposed to, I mean, to being, you know, you could be a lawyer or a doctor, or, you know, a businessman or an entrepreneur?
I was exposed to, because to be honest, like, as just coming up, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to be. So even when I was going to college and that, I wasn't too sure where I wanted to study. So I was a bit like kind of, I wouldn't say lost, but I was a bit like undecided in what direction I wanted to go. But I did know that I liked music. So, but them days, I was like, possibly maybe I should study music, because that was kind of where my passion was. And that was something that I would like to do. But in them days, that was like, music was kind of looked down upon, you get me? If you ask me, it was just like, it's like, it weren't looked at serious, like as a proper professional, something that you can make money from. The music industry, like because like kind of, it was like, oh, everyone black wants to do music, so it's like, well, dude, you gotta find something proper. So from that, I was just exploring options. Like, Dad would maybe suggested engineering, I was like, okay, I could, maybe I might like that. And it's a creative start, it's a creative thing. So I kind of think I went down that lane. I started doing a college course in that.
Okay.
So that's how,
Perfect. And then obviously years later, you've decided to, you know, not just delve into music, but you know, you've started the clothing label Forward Thinking. Forward Clothing. Forward Clothing. And obviously being a presenter on Truth and Bantz. juggling all those different entities, which one have you found the most sort of therapeutic in a way, or
most therapeutic? Well, for me, I think they've all got their highs when it comes to being therapeutic within my life. They've all, like, clothing's been therapeutic because my clothing journey was like when I was locked up, you get me? And that was like something that I kind of like I kind of meditated on it. And I thought, like, when I come out, it's like, because I was already doing the music, I was like, I need something like to go side and side with the music. So I was thinking like of a clothing line that I could do, but I wanted the clothing line to be positive and kind of have a message as well, because I was kind of, I come up, so I was trying to like just be more positive, and just the energy that I put out be more positive. So I was locked down one time, and I was just thinking, like, just meditating, just closed my eyes, just thinking, what can I do? And I was just deep, and then it just kind of just flashed in my mind, like the image. So, and then I was like, okay, then it kind of made sense, like forward. So I just jotted it down as a little sketch when I was in there. And then I was like, okay, when I come out, I'm gonna push this. It's just an image in my mind. I've put it onto paper. I was to me, all right, cool. When I come out on road now, I'm gonna bring it into existence. You get me?
Yeah.
And really, when I was like, boom, I'm just gonna make everyone know about it, and I'm gonna make it go around the world, and I want people around the world to be rocking this clothing, and for it to stand for something positive as well. So it's basically something positive that I'm putting out there into the world, innit? So that was therapeutic for me, because I was actually able to come out and do what I said. You get me? Then was around the world in America. People's wearing it in the videos in America, Africa, Jamaica. So I was actually able to come. So that was actually therapeutic, knowing that I was able to have that thought in my mind and make it happen in real life, in reality. So that in itself is just a testimony to myself.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It sounds to me like you created a vision board, and then you obviously saw it through.
Yeah, saw it through.
Put it into fruition.
And maybe like now, when I'm looking back, it's like maybe my vision board, I never set it high enough, because what I actually set for it, I actually achieved it. Yeah. So maybe when I should have set it actually higher, because
it's never too late.
It's never too late. Definitely, you can always come back to the drawing board and basically that's where that is in the therapeutic stance. And for the podcast, that's very therapeutic. Very therapeutic, and it's very therapeutic for me. And what I do like is that it's very therapeutic for other people that watch it as well, and it's bigger than me. That's everything that I do. I try to make it bigger than me, because life's bigger than us, isn't it? It's bigger than the individual. It's a oneness. So everything that I do is it's bigger than me. I try to make it bigger than me. Try to make it affect more than just me, because the way I see it is like what you put out comes back to you, innit? So I just try to put out positivity in it. And I've been through a lot of trials, tribulations in my life. I've done certain negative stuff. So in a certain way as well, this is kind of me putting out good for some of the bad that I've actually done. Yeah. And this is actually me kind of, for me personally, this is a personal journey. This is actually me paying back for some stuff that I've done that isn't good. Yeah. I'm putting good out into the universe. So whatever, there's a higher being that sees it, they can see this. So that's how I feel. And if you do bad stuff, bad's gonna come back to you. Okay. Get me? But you can counteract that if you want by how you live your life, innit?
That's right. And then the music, because I mean, we're gonna go back to forward clothing in a sec. But the music, how's that sort of helped you in like sort of dark times and? Sorry, what's the inspiration of the music come from?
Music for me, it's always been kind of it's been therapeutic, because it's helped me release. For me, music's a part of it's a form of therapy for me, because it helps me release. Some people might journal, write down stuff to release it. Some people never release stuff and they just hold it all in and it just bungs them up. You get me? Yeah. So that's just me. For the person that I am, I have to release in some way or form, and music is just an avenue for me to release. So yeah, that's my journey, and then even with the music, I just try to put out music that's positive music, like, because even like if you want to go back, like, and for me, I just like to show love. So if I'm doing something, I don't like to hate on no one. So if I've got opportunity, even this podcast, this opportunity for me to, if you've got something good, let me come and try to help you, like, and shed light on your thing, and you're shedding light on your thing, you're shedding light into the world, and that's just basically a ripple effect of good energy in it. So like, even before, like, we don't take it back in the day, like, my boy Danny Boy was singing. DDubz was singing.
Yeah.
DDubz was singing. And back in the day, like, when I come out of Pen, I done a little mix CD. I was like, yo, come down and do your singing on it. You get me? And even if you remember, might even give you a snippet if you're lucky. DDubz might not want it. DDubz might not want this coming out. You're singing this hot.
You know, I was.
It was, but even if you even look back at them times, you can see, like, even them times, that was maybe man was, like, I don't know, man was young in it.
Yeah.
But even if you look at them times, what the song was about. The song wasn't about nothing, just not like trivial stuff. The song was like, why? Yeah. Why are kids dying? Yeah. Why are this happening?
Exactly.
And that was way back. You get me?
Yeah.
So this is my journey, innit? It's always been my journey. You get me? So I'm just aligning with myself and just getting rid of the layers so I can actually be more myself and do what I need to do, what I feel I need to do, which has been in my spirit. Yeah. I never put it there, it was just in there, innit? So, to get me.
It's funny how, I was saying, it's funny, it's just interesting how history kind of repeats itself in terms of just the subject matters. It just keeps coming around, coming around.
That's what I'm saying. So that's like 20 years back. I was like, the kids, I was like, why are you saying why?
Yeah. Why? It was literally a why question to now that we can kind of present to you why it's still happening. It is crazy. But let's talk about let's talk about trauma, past trauma, just a little bit. You touched a bit about spending time in prison. Whether you want to talk about why you went into prison, but what was it like for you? I think this is a lesson now for a lot of young people who are probably listening that are on the streets, that are doing the crazy or the madness or whatever you want to kind of like, how you want to express it. Yeah. What is the dark sides of being in prison?
The dark sides of being in prison, you're going to get... It's a place that you don't really need to be, but if you are there, it's going to test you, and it's going to put you into a dark place. And the dark sides of being in there is that there's going to be ignorant people that's going to try and test you. Just like now, like on the streets, like kids might come against people trying to test them on road. Oh, where are you from? What end you from? Yeah. You're in a place where it's just people, there's 100 people like that. And just looking for people that's victims so they can just bully you. Sometimes it's just for their own, like, just own that ego and pride. Some people just want to just go around and just, if they can hot you up, they just want to hot you up just for the sake of it and make your life hell, and that's going to actually bring them joy. I know it might sound sick.
For their own glorification,
Yeah, but that is, and dark side is you're just away from your people, you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, like, you get me, you feel like you're missing out, like, and you're just in a place stuck. That's it.
Did you have any of your kids at that time?
No. Cool, but look, give thanks.
What did you focus on the most in terms of dealing with stress, depression, anxiety, being inside there? What got you focused? What made you realize, you know what, I'm gonna get out one day and I want to, not necessarily push clothing forward, but I want to make better for myself. I want to change my whole outlet.
Because you have to remember, I was in there twice, innit?
Okay.
So it was when the man was a teenager, and so back to the question you said. What was the question?
So, why'd you go in the first place? The first time? Do you want to talk about that?
Not really here to glorify. Nothing bad, but basically, man was just caught up in it. I was caught up in the streets, innit? I was caught up in the street life for a bit, innit? And personally, if I tell you why I was caught up in the street, for me personally, I'll say it's because see where I grew up, my house, yeah. I come up in me and my mum, my brother, innit? My brother's about 7 years older than me, innit? basically, I never had no space in my house. Like that's how I feel in it. Like I didn't have no personal space in my house. Yeah, I shared the room with my in a bedroom my brother, which wasn't my room. It's my brother's room. I just entered there. It was already his room. You get me? He just had some little guy coming into his room, kind of mess up with his stuff. You get me? I keep 100. You get me? So in the space, and my room was small in it. I don't know if you remember when he came to my room. My room was small.
Tiny.
It was tiny. Yeah, straight. It was tiny. You get me? Like I didn't have no space in the house. You get me? You know, them ones there. So because I didn't really have no space in the house, sometimes my mum might be with her piece. My brother might be with his people. Like I'm just there. You know, them ones there. I'll hit the street. You get me, fam? You know, them ones there and just be on the street and just find my way on the street. You get me, fam? And that's like my peace in it, because there's no what is it? Or I might be in my mum's bedroom chilling. Why am I in my mum's bedroom? I could chill with my mum and her, but I don't want to be with my mum and her. They're doing their thing. My brother's here with his people. He's doing his thing. And why am I in there? I could do there, but I'm his little brother, innit? I'm like a couple years younger in a minute. So don't really no space in there. You get me? So sometimes that's how I was kind of on the street. That's how I was kind of like, let me just hit the streets. And I had people on the streets. I was cool. And that's how I kind of just got mixed up in certain crimes and stuff, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And then the second time?
And the first time, the first time, basically, we just got caught up in it. It's like, it's when you're in the streets and you're doing street stuff, basically, you might be doing deals in it. Then if you're doing deals, sometimes, as I said, like, people want to test you in it. Sometimes people might jack you in it, and then after, or try to jack you in it, then after, you might have to retaliate in it. Then when you retaliate, you might get caught in a loop. So sometimes, just like the kids these days, some of them might be walking with a bora. They don't necessarily want to walk with a bora, because they know everyone's walking with a bora. They might walk with a bora for their own protection, and they get caught up, and they might actually end up stabbing someone. You know, they were stabbing someone and doing a mad bird. But really, that wasn't really in their heart, you know, them ones there. So, yeah, so...
Or not stabbing anyone at all, and literally just getting caught for it.
Yeah, and even get caught having, the knife.
Just carrying,
Yeah, so basically, I got caught up in the street. I had something in my car, you get me? I got into a police chase, innit? Got into a police chase. Someone reported something was in my car, and I was trying to escape the police, and I crashed into someone, a motorcyclist. Get me? And
that motorcyclist, all right?
Yeah. He survived. He was injured. He was injured quite bad, like, unfortunately. Because that wasn't my intention. You get me? But then later on that day, police come, man. Yeah, I just got arrested, man. Bare armed threats come. Don't move. Don't fucking move. Yeah, and they just arrested me, But I was on bail for a bit, so I was on bail for about maybe 9 months or something, but I knew I was kind of going.
So what does on bail mean? Does it mean that you're still outside?
Yeah, I was outside. I was outside, but I just had the court case pending.
Okay.
So that's the first time. And
what's going through your mind around that time when you're on bail? Like, how are you feeling? How are you thinking? What are you doing?
To be honest, boy, I knew it was over me. I knew it was pending. I knew it weren't looking good. I knew kind of had to. I was gonna kind of had to go jail. I remember actually speaking to my boy Nate a couple times, like, and I remember just in the car, like, just sitting, like, thinking, like, damn, man's gonna have to go jail. Like, it's peak, like. But what could I do in it? I knew it was coming, so I guess I had time to mentally prepare myself. How long it was going to be was another thing, but I knew, that's it. That was where I was just living. I remember I went Napa. That time I was actually on bail, you get me? And then when I come back, I got arrested, you get me? Not straight from the airport, but I got arrested. Then they put me in jail for maybe a week or something, and they let me out, come out on bail again. And then after I went, I got sentenced. But, jail was basically for me just a learning curve for me, man. It's just a place for me to find myself in it, because even first time when I went, a lot of people was like, "Oh, Flash ain't gonna be alright." Flash ain't allowed like that, and there's a lot of these loud guys like Flash ain't gonna have a good time in there. Flash is gonna ain't gonna find it easy. Like, you get me? It's gonna be a struggle for. That's what people say.
So people were saying this before you went in?
Yeah, before I went.
Okay. And then there's obviously you've got all this in your mind.
Yeah, so I've got all this in my mind when I'm going there, like, yo. So this is that kind of building up, anxiety within me.
Yeah.
So but had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I had to go through a dark place. And
what does that dark place look like? What does that look like?
The dark place.
Yeah.
It's a place that everyone needs to go to find themselves.
Okay.
That's what the dark place is. The dark place is a place that everyone needs to go to find themselves, and you're only gonna live your best life and truest life and most fulfilled life once you go to that dark place, if you ask me. And if you don't go to that dark place, you're not gonna live your truest self, because you're gonna be scared of the dark parts of yourself. So for me, like, the dark place, just time for me. Like, I was in the cell, like, just being by myself, you get me, for maybe 18 months. And no TV, you get me? No TV, just music and books, you get me? So for that time, the books and that just helped me get into myself and just made me learn about life. I just learned about life, learned about myself, who I am. I had to go through experiences because I have to deal with people's egos in there. As they says, I'm not the loudest, I'm I'm kind of quiet, but I'm not having it. Yeah. So that's what happens. Sometimes you get put into situations where you're just forced into the situation. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, when I got shipped to Portland. I was in Feltham Chancellor, then I went to Portland, and I come to Portland. It's my first day in Portland, and then they unlock everyone to come out the cell in it to go get their dinner. And I've gone to get my dinner in it. And then everyone's come back to the cell, and then my next door's like, when we've come out, my next door's bang me up now. Boom, 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 because you can bang up people through this, they can hear it, bam, bam, then people speak out the window. Yeah. So they're bam, bam, but next door, yo, what's going on, bro, you good? Yeah, listen, they call tobacco burn, like, someone's teeth my burn. Did you see anything? I'm like, no, bro, I didn't see anything. I've just gone to my and bang straight back up.
Yeah.
It's like, you sure? It's me, yeah. It's me, I'm like, cool. Banged up his other side. Yo! Asked him the same question, he's like, no. So then 5 minutes, then he's talking about his brethren on the window, someone else he knows from wherever. Yeah. Hey, it's mad, man, someone's taken my, what is it? This is mad, like, guy, mad, like, I'm pissed. Then he's banged me up again, innit?
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, next door. So I'm like, yo!
Yeah.
You know what, fam? What, fam? I think you took my thing.
Wow. Okay. What?
It's me, okay, fam, but yo, I ain't took your thing. I already told you I ain't took your thing, bro. Yeah. I haven't took your thing. So, like, I don't know what you want me to do, fam. Yeah. What do you mean, fam? Like,
wow.
Why are you talking like that, fam? What tone? That's me. What do you mean, what tone? I'm telling you, I haven't done nothing, fam, and I haven't took your thing. It is, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, let's see. Yeah. So I've gone, but then no one's got TV, so the wing's quiet. So I'm just gone back onto my bed, on reading my book. Like, for the next, 6 hours, then man, just rinsing, man. Yeah. Watch, man, think they're bad, and this one I can't take, Joe.
Yeah. It's deep,
and
man.
I'm just reading my book.
Yeah.
That man's got to ham outside the window on me. Yeah. But yeah, that's the position I get put. You just have to get put in. You get me?
It's crazy that the amount that we deal with as men, and that doesn't necessarily get light. Do you know what I'm saying? Or that we don't necessarily talk about.
No, definitely.
Me and you had this conversation just before we got to the studios about, dealing with confrontations and, dealing with, like egos and stuff like that, and just being tested on just so many different levels. Yeah. Like I always feel coming out of my house is probably one of the most challenging as a man, let alone for a young person who has to go to school or go to college or his first day of work. But as a black person or black man coming out of the house is probably one of the most challenging, if not probably most dangerous times ever. Because not only are we judged on our appearance, where people clutch their purses or people don't want to necessarily sit next to you or don't want to talk to you, but we also have to deal with our counterparts or deal with other black people who may necessarily want to harm us.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? But how is it like? I mean, you're dealing with all of that kind of pressure and, you're in a box by yourself. What's going through your mind? This guy is banging on your door telling you that he's stolen or you've stolen his cigarettes. You're laying on his bed reading his book. I know you're not focused on the book. What else is going through your mind? What are you trying to prepare yourself for?
Boy, for me, it's like, I don't know. I'm just getting into a place where it's like, what can I do in it? I'm already in a place where I'm helpless. I don't even want to be here. What can I do? I've got to be in this actually jail already.
Yeah.
Now I've got this guy accusing me of something that I haven't done, but I can't prove it to him. But he's kind of insane, kind of talking wickedness outside the window like for hours, innit? I'm just like, to be honest, I'm just trying to detach myself, really. Detach myself and get into the bottom. Just detach from everything. I'm already in this place. You get me? I'm just trying to detach and find oneness within myself. I know that's happening. Of course I know it's happening.
Yeah.
My door's opening tomorrow morning. He's talking wickedness. You get me? So nothing I can do in it. So it just had to make me just delve into myself in it and to get a better understanding of everything and people. Yeah. And it's a challenge to myself, innit? Because I put myself in there, innit? I can't blame no one. Some mistakes that I made that put me in there, you get me? And this is what I've got to face with, innit? This was my karma, innit? So, and I'm going to have to face, and I'll put into a place with ignorant people. Man's a teenager, you know how it's with a teenager, just as it is. Everyone's trying to find themselves. So it's a lot of pride in it, you know what I mean? So.
Did you have to deal, did you sort of, did you have any sort of anxiety, or did you sort of accustomed to, because you talked about, you know, going into a dark place, and sometimes people go into those dark places and don't come out of those dark places. Okay. Was there anything that you got from prison in terms of anxiety or
bad stuff?
In terms of like your well-being, was that sort of triggered in any sort of way? Was there anything that you kind of got from prison that you now on release that you realize that's come from spending time in prison, or that's come from being, you know, when I was young, being raised at home with my parent, you know, not having my own room, spending a lot of time out on the streets. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things that we reflect back on as an adult now that you say, you know what, this is the reason why I am the way I am. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of these circumstances and stuff like that. Is there anything now you can look back on as in your adolescent years, in your adult years that you now have accustomed or you have now harbored
from those experiences? Maybe the jail made me like my own company. I might have fell in love.
Introvert.
Yeah. Maybe I was always an introvert anyway, to be honest with you. But it just made me understand that I'm that. So some people might be introvert and like, why am I like that? How come I'm not like the extrovert? Well, it don't matter. You're just an introvert. That's just you. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with you. So you just have to know who you are. So I think that was kind of helped me find out who I was in it. And through that time, I read a lot of books as well, a lot of autobiographies and stuff like that. So it made me give an understanding of different people's lives and just,
What book stood out for you?
There's a lot of books, like I even read DMX's book. Like DMX's book was hard. DMX went through a lot, like, get me? He was like, he went through a lot, like, even with his mum and that. So, people's different life experiences. Tupac, but Malcolm, I read a couple different people, just getting to know myself in it and just, because, everyone, we can all learn off everyone's experiences.
Definitely.
So,
I remember writing to you.
One thing I want to say as well, I want to say, because listen as well, people, like sometimes, people like to forget like the good things that people's done for them, innit? And like when time passed, there might be good deeds that your dog's done for you, innit? But time's passed, innit? And then as years go by, you might forget about that. But me, I'm not a person that forgets, because I think like you should always keep the deeds, because someone don't have to do that for you, and people like to forget these stuff. That's why I want to give you your flowers. Back in the jail, you used to always send me letters, fam. I remember, fam, you used to send me psalms. Yeah? I remember, fam. This you used to send me psalms, fam. Like, I love you for that, bro. And those psalms like help me get through, you get me, fam. And man, not forget those things, you get me? So even today, like, even if I was upset with you, I can't really be that much upset with you, because I remember what you done, what certain stuff that you done, and it still holds high. Some people like to forget stuff that people have done for them back in the day, and maybe get into what is it and like forget. But what about those good deeds that you done for me? What, you just want to forget them because we're having a little inch? That's what I clocked. So I want to big you up for that. You get me, fam?
Anytime, man. I think what I wanted to touch on is you know, obviously, you know, you go through your own sort of like, you know, traumas and challenges when you're in prison, and it's, you know, it's nothing easy. It's not a great place. But at the same time, there's people outside of the prisons who, you know what I mean, are thinking about how you're living and how, you know what I mean. And I remember writing those laws, and I remember always going to think to myself, how do you write a letter to Flash? How do I, what do I say? Do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, how are you? Or what's popping? What's going on?
I know, it's like, what much could be happening?
Yeah, exactly. And I remember always kind of like thinking to myself, like, what would I want to say to you? What would I want to like, how am I going to make you smile? How am I going to uplift you? And I remember writing these letters, and I don't remember, you know, word for word what they were about, but I know that I used to always kind of add either a psalm in there or I guess maybe just a quote from a lyric from Nas or something like that, or rapper or something like that.
Significant.
And I remember just being excited sending it, because back then it was about, you know, buying yourself an envelope, making sure that the address was written properly, and getting a stamp and making sure that it was delivered. And then getting a response back is probably one of the biggest things for me. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, either it was from you or it was from other people that we know that obviously have gone in and obviously have passed away. But it was obviously joy to get that response back, because if you didn't get a response back and you was worried,
yeah, of course,
like, Rod, did he receive it? How did he receive it?
Is he all right in there?
Is he right in there? Do you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely one of the things I'm happy that I contributed to along the way.
Man. Big up,
but
man,
I've always
man.
been, you know, I think both of us have always been people of our people. We've loved, and it's funny, I'm laughing now because when you talking about walking the streets, you've always walked out of fast pace. I always used to think to myself, this guy, like, where's he going? Where's he rushing off to? And you've always been an old soul as well. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think the reason why you've always come across this person that's had an old soul, and I've tried to reach out to some of your cousins and people as well to try and contribute to this interview, but I think it works off just my memories. But you've always been an old soul, and I think that's been a bit of your father and a bit of your mum, and what you've kind of accumulated and kind of just sucked in your own home. Do you know what I'm saying? The amount of information that you've had to kind of like process, the things that you've had to endure. And I think that, you know, we go through life and we go through these different journeys for a reason.
No, 100%.
But now that you've kind of come out of prison, like, again, you've pushed forward clothing, you've done your music, you're still doing your music, you're doing this podcast, you know, you produce 3 amazing, beautiful children, you know, girls to be exact. How's that been because people ask me all the time, what's it like being a father? What's it like being a father for you? What's fatherhood been like for you?
All right, shall I be honest with you?
Completely.
I'll keep it 100 with you, yeah? My journey, obviously, you just said it, I've always been an old soul and stuff, innit?
Yeah.
And I've always kind of been deep in it, a deep thinker, and analysed a lot of stuff. So for me, before I had kids, I was kind of fed up with the world and just how things are. Just as a black man, as you said, you know how it is already. As a black man, like, you get me, like sometimes you might feel like you've got enemies all around you. You might look at someone that looks like you, he's your enemy. You get me? Then you walk down the road, there's a woman holding a bag. That might piss you off. There's bare stuff that can trigger you. As a black person, you might look on the TV, see some racist shit, see a slavey movie. There's so much shit to trigger you, to underline you. So I was at a place where, I don't know, I was a bit underlined, to be honest with you. I was like, what's this? What's the meaning of life? You get me? Like, obviously, as I said, like, when I was looking into the work thing, I was like, music's my thing, and like other stuff is like, it's just stuff that I'm doing for money. So I'm like, I didn't want to be doing something just for money. You get me? So I was like, why am I here? Like, this is, I'm like, what am I meant to be doing here? It's like, so to be honest with, and I've been through a little bit, my bits ups and downs in it. So to be honest with you, I was like on a 50 cents, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, man, let's just get rich or die trying. That's what I was actually at, like, real talk. So my what I can say is my kids actually gave me a purpose, like, to stay grounded, to be honest, stay grounded in reality, and stay grounded, man, and just if you ask me. It gave me purpose and something to look back. When you're feeling low, you can be like, all right, kids, you want to feel like, fuck it. What about my kids? I think that's, for me, that's what it was. It gave me purpose, stay aligned, stay down, and to know that I have to be here and stay strong for these little kids because I've got to raise them, and I can't be no weakling and give up myself and leave them there. That's selfish. I'm not selfish.
Yeah.
You get me? Can't do a madness that I can go jail. That's selfish. So that gave me a purpose to just stay on track and stay aligned, stay focused. That's what the kids done for me. And they make me happy. You get me? Yeah, they always put a smile on my face. They're a blessing.
Yeah. What are you? What one of
Even
the
big
things
up their mum. You get me? Big up for being a great mum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What one of the things that kind of like what are you learning about being a father? Because I feel like I'm always learning something new all the time. You know, my kids, my two girls are 10 and 13, so they're always showing me new things, you know, and they will see the personalities and, you know, hormones and, you know, and just getting into that, being a young adult is, I'm learning even the attitude and sometimes the answer back, you know, things that I have to always constantly address, whether it's good or bad. What are you learning? What are they teaching you?
What are they teaching me? They're teaching me unconditional love.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people say they love you, but they don't really love you. They love you based on conditions. And my kids teach me unconditional love. Because that love is got no conditions. No matter, I'm always going to love them, you hit me?
Yeah.
You know, them ones there.
Yeah.
So,
It's unconditional love. Because it's crazy, isn't it? Because I feel like us being girl dads is very, very different to, you know, our male friends and males out there who are raising boys.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because it kind of brings you a level, there's something soft about it. There's a level of peace about raising girls. You know, I wouldn't change it because it gives me two personalities. I know I can be very aggressive and very much a fighter of what I want and, you know, I'm very passionate about certain things. And then at the same time with my girls, there's a softer side.
That's it.
There's another side exactly
100%.
that they see that, you know, that the world doesn't see. And you know, one thing I wanted to ask you is I don't understand, and it's a conversation that we have when you have fathers out there who, and I'm not saying all fathers, but there's some fathers out there who don't necessarily want to see their kids, who don't care about their kids, who have had children and can live every day without thinking about whether their kids have eaten, woken up, have got clothes on their back, gone to school, or in safe environments. And I'm not, again, like I said, I'm not saying there's all fathers out there. There's some fathers that really want to see their children and it's been stopped.
Yeah, definitely. As well.
You know, through the courts or through, you know, the mother of the kids. You know, that's why I say it's really important that you know you have to be careful who you're having children with,
100%.
who you choose to lay down with,
100%.
and don't pull out with. You know what I'm saying?
100%. That's a big one. Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about fathers out there who don't have any responsibility or don't even care about their kids?
Message for fathers who don't care about their kids is fix up, motherfucker. What you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what you doing? Like for me, like, it's all karma. It's gonna come back on you. Like, every action has a reaction. So it's gonna come back and bite you some way or somehow, innit? That's what I personally think.
Yeah.
That's what I personally think. Anyone that ain't really, it's gonna come back and bite you some form or some shape if you don't show. But I think it's a weakness, man. It's weak stuff, man. It's weak stuff. I don't understand that. I can't understand that, really. Depends, innit? Was your parents in your life?
Yeah.
Get me? If they wasn't in your life, would you mad at them for not being in your life? And if you was mad at them for not being in your life, how can you do the same thing? That's weak. That's some weak shit.
Yeah.
Like, really and truly. So that's how I think of it. But some people do weak actions, and that's what you clock. Like, some people will go through trauma, and then be a person that causes that same trauma that you had to go through, that you hate, that messed up your life, and put it on other people.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. That's like weak.
Yeah.
Like, you should wanna grow and do better now, especially if you've actually experienced it. So that's my take on it personally.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
But so they say it takes a village to
raise a child.
Raise a child, so yeah.
Children, yeah.
So that's when it comes. That's when the village comes in, and yeah, I guess that's where the village is meant to come in.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
You've had the opportunity to travel, and one of the places or great places that you visited was Ghana, right? What was it like stepping on African soil? And I always ask this question to my Caribbean born or Caribbean friends here in the UK. Like, what is it like going to Africa for the first time? Because I know that there's a few spaces out in the moment that are kind of like popping. Obviously, Gambia. A lot of Jamaicans and Caribbeans associate themselves to Gambia. A lot of places like Ghana, a lot of Jamaicans have obviously been given visas to come back to Ghana, come back to to the heritage. Nigeria. I haven't really heard anyone say Cameroon or
no, because you're Cameroonian, ain't you?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to come back there
Uganda, the Congo. Everyone kind of touches Egypt, I guess. What was it like going to Ghana for the first time? Talk to me.
Went there with my boy H. Big up H. It's where people's from. I never really done it like a tourist per se. I was in the
trenches.
Yeah, I was in the trench. I was in the trenches. It was in the trenches. You get me? But what can I say about Ghana? Ghana's a lovely country. It's a beautiful country. As a black man, obviously they say slavery that we come from Africa. Yeah. So and obviously my dad was conscious as well, so he was always talking about Africa, to be honest. So yeah, it was an opportunity to go out there, and I liked it. Africa is a beautiful country. It's a beautiful country. There's a couple stuff that I weren't really feeling just as a Caribbean person coming into it that I didn't really understand.
What was that?
But I'm not here to knock Ghanaians, so I don't take nothing personal.
No, but it's about adapting, isn't it?
Basically what I saw was that is they're a very religious country. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being religious, isn't it? Like, there's nothing wrong with being religious.
Different religions, or are you talking about just the Christianity?
They did have Muslim, but for me, I was more Christianity.
Okay.
So they're a religious country, but what I see is like I didn't like it.
Okay.
Me personally, this is my personal opinion. I didn't like the religious aspect out there, the religious feel. What made me because say I was in Kumasi.
Kumasi?
I was in Kumasi. First I was in Accra, which is the capital, then we went down to Kumasi. So Kumasi it's kind of the country, innit? It's coming up, it's just building up. What I noticed there is that and this ain't got nothing to do with race or nothing like that, white, black, innit? It's just something that I see in it. But what I see is that in Kumasi, it's like it was too much worshipping white Jesus.
Okay.
For me, that's my personal thing, innit? Like, because there's no white people in Kumasi, innit? But I'll be in like a shack, innit? Like a shack where there's a house which is the size of this room, innit?
Okay.
They'll have maybe 2 chairs and they'll have a picture of Jesus in it. Like, for me, it's kind of a brainwash thing, man, if you ask me, because it was like, and I thought it was in my head, so I had to ask my boy's nephew in it that was there. So I was like, because I'm not trying to be rude about it. It's just something that I actually noticed, and it was kind of like, because they have to remember they go church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's something on church every day.
Okay.
Oh, this studied. So. And on the buses, everything, there's those white Jesus, like big posters everywhere, like, but there's no white people out there. Only white people that come and then buy land. You get me? And when they do come, I see like them black men there treat them like they kiss their ass. That's let's keep it. That's what I saw in it.
Okay.
They're just like over on them in it, because obviously that's the money in it. So I kind of found that as a problem in it. So when I asked my boys' nephews, like I find it hard for me coming from a white country to a black country and seeing like everyone's like worshipping that white Jesus, innit? When, not to be funny, Jesus, it says it in the Bible, don't praise no imagery, yeah? So if you want to take it from the Bible content, we can go from there. It says don't praise no imagery or nothing like that. So you've got image and it's not even of you, yeah?
Yeah.
And when I asked him this, he was like, no, don't feel no way when you're asking me. Like, I understand what you're saying. I thought the same thing. I come from here.
Yeah.
Because Not to be funny, when I was in school, it taught that Jesus was white and Judas was black in the books.
Okay.
In the actual books, textbooks. So I was like, that's crazy. It's like, yeah, it is crazy. So basically, if you ask me, it's kind of a brainwashing thing. That's what I see in it. So for me now, if you know me from a kid as Judas, the black man is Judas, you're not going to trust me. When I come back there to do business now, it's going to be hard for me to do business because you don't really rate me as a black person, you get me? You see me as Judas. You've been taught, programmed from young, that Judas is a black guy. Judas looks like you. And the savior doesn't look like you.
Got you.
And this is why the saviors in everyone's house is someone that don't look like them.
Yeah.
And then when the investors come, which are usually white, but no, this ain't about a colour thing, innit? It's just about a programming, yeah? When the investors come, which are white, like, they treat them, they treat them the best because obviously they're bringing their money, innit?
Got you.
And what I've clocked is some of the chiefs in the village, they come, they get the investors come in, they sell them all the lands, and they don't build up the village. I've been in villages where the roads is just dust roads, yeah? Just dusty. But if you look at the chief's village house, he's got a plush house. The house rolls around his Pacific house are crisp. But you ain't looking out for the rest of the village.
Yeah.
So there's no love for your people. You know, them ones there. That's what I clocked. You get me?
Okay.
And another thing is that I went to possibly invest in gold. Like, obviously everyone knows Ghana's a place that mines gold, innit? Gold is in the country. Why are they selling gold more expensive than England? I had to Google England, but hold on, why is this so expensive? Like, I can get cheaper gold in England than Ghana. Like, what's that? Like, you don't manufacture none of the gold or produce none of the gold. You just mine it and send it out to other countries to put into chains and stuff, and they send it back to you taxed. So you're not even getting the gold for a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the majority of the mines are just rented out. So that's what I clocked. Like,
Okay.
that's my purse. But the country and the people are beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But how it's being run is I don't really rate it. Get me? You got gold in your country. Why have you got factories where you are melting the gold and make it into the chains? You could have build bare jobs for all the locals there and bring money for your people instead of mining it there and shipping it out raw for them to melt and do all that stuff and send it back to you with their tax for you to sell at a rate that's higher than
extortionate rate.
Yeah. So for me, that's the stuff that made me was like a bit raw.
I guess that's a conversation we could obviously have forever. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously on another platform. Yeah. Where there obviously I'm always hearing that the similarities between Ghanaians and Jamaicans. Where there are a lot of similarities in the food and in the culture, in the people themselves. Yeah.
There is, definitely 100%. That's I said, the people out there are lovely, innit? But it's just a bit of the brainwashing, you get me? That's all it is.
Yeah. You touch on like spiritual.
People talk about them people out there that, oh my gosh, my wish is just to get to Europe and da. Yeah. Then we're out here like, not that good at it.
There's nothing here. No sun.
It's not that good at it. You trying to get over here?
No watchy. There's no red reds. There's no real.
That's what you aspire to. I remember speaking to some little kids. My dream is to aspire to go to the West End. Yeah. I'm like, so this is But carry on. What you gonna say, sir?
I was gonna say that brings on my next question about spirituality. Where do you sort of align yourself in spirituality? What's your relationship like with God? Who do you go to church on Sundays? Do you read your Bible? Like, what does that look like? What's your relationship like with the higher power, the higher being?
Me personally, I'll say I've got a good relationship with the higher power, the higher being, but I don't go to church. I don't go to church religiously. But from my understanding...
so you do go to church, we don't go to church religiously?
Yeah, I don't go to church religiously. Okay. From my understanding is, from written in the book, the Bible, is that God is present when two or more people come and form and speak about God. God is there. It's not about church. Get me? So But I'm not beefing church. I'm not saying nothing bad about church. I'm just saying what it says in the Bible.
Okay.
In regards,
Yeah, when two or three are gathered, he's in the presence.
Yeah. So you can call this church right now. He's talking about church. You can call this church right now, referring to the Bible, referring to what's written in the Bible, the book that they study. So I like to, for my religious, that's my thing. I just have a personal relationship with God. I'm not religious. I don't associate God with any building. God could be anywhere. God's present everywhere. That's my understanding. And and you just vibrate with God by doing good, and you vibrate with the devil by doing evil. That's how I see it.
Cool. And how's that relationship with God helped you in dark times?
My relationship with God has helped me in dark times. Is that anytime I had fear, I realized that I didn't need to fear. So that's my relationship with God. It's like it says faith over fear. Don't know what psalm or what his quote is, but it says faith over fear in it. And that's what you should carry, the faith in it. You should carry the faith in it, and your faith should override the fear in it. So that's my life journey, is realizing that anytime I had fear, I didn't really need to fear. I wouldn't need to keep the faith, because fear is an illusion. Fear is something that you give yourself. Fear is something that you overthink and think into existence. That's my journey. And anything that I feared, I realised that there's not really no need to fear. I just put it into my own head. I actually caused it on myself, probably by past traumas and a lot of stuff that can bring fear into existence. Or maybe you've just been used to fearing so much that it's just a thing that you just do religiously without even knowing. So I just had to break that. I had to break that, and just try living faith, man. Try living faith. When you live in fear, that's when the devil steps in and comes into your thoughts and makes you just doubt yourself and backtrack and not do what you was meant to do, or what God wants you to do through faith. That's how I see it. Feel me?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What's your faith?
You know, I've got a good relationship with
I know
God.
you. I know. That's what I'm saying.
I feel I have a strong relationship, just based off my life experiences. A lot of things that I've gone through, I feel like God's definitely carried me through a lot of those experiences. Not just my experiences, but families. I've seen a lot of miracles, a lot of things happen around me, and I think, it's definitely God's working. I'm currently fasting right now. It's nothing to gloat about. It's nothing to, because the Bible does talk about not showing off or anything about it. But it's something that I'm kind of putting myself in, where I can kind of spend these couple of months or weeks, whatever, how long it takes for me to kind of focus on the word, get to know my Bible, be a bit more familiar with the words, the message, and kind of just have a more better relationship with God. And that relationship is no different to any kind of relationship that I want to kind of build with you, my family member, friends, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Than opposed to just always just reaching out whenever I want something, than opposed to reaching out because I generally care and I want to invest and find out a bit more about you. So that's what it's about for me. Just building that relationship, so it makes sense, and it doesn't necessarily have to always prove a point, but it makes sense as to what that relationship is about and who that relationship is with, and bringing more clarity. So that's just where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I agree. I agree that every relationship that we have should reflect God in somehow.
Yeah.
Every relationship we have, it should reflect God. If it's not reflecting God, then it's probably reflecting the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I see it.
In 2024, June of 2024, you sadly laid your father, Nado, to rest. He met his untimely demise. He passed away. May he rest in peace. But just to rewind that, just to give you a sense of who I knew, or I saw your father as, and to me as a young man, going to the barbers was really, really important for me to be, from young, to the days where my mum used to take me, to when I used to independently go myself. But it played a major role on my weekends, my Saturdays, if not Friday night Saturdays. And Aquarius was one of the first barbershops I went to when I first came to this country. And walking down those creaky stairs, as you know, very, very narrow stairs, because all upstairs, it was a salon.
Yeah,
Bunch of
all the women, all the women
getting their hair done and making the most noise.
Yeah.
And then there's just something about walking down those creaky stairs that just brought us a silence. And the only thing you could hear was the clipper coming on and off, and a few laughs and jokes here and there. But in the corner of the barbershop, when you walk down the stairs, was this gentleman that used to have just a white shirt, his black trousers, was always dressed in a classy, classic sort of way. And he always, I don't know if your father drank at the time, but I always remember a dragon stout or something there. But when he used to cut hair, it was almost like he was performing a show. He used to take great passion in cutting his clients' hair. And he used to treat everyone with pride and dignity when they sat in that chair and respect. So if you had an appointment with him, you knew you had an appointment with him because of the time and the length he spent cutting your hair and the conversations in between. But in between that, it was a show because he showed everyone else that used to sit on that seat that was waiting for him or anyone else that he was there and he was cutting and his client was important to him. And, you know, your father was an amazing man. He was very swift with the clippers. He always seemed to be always in a good mood. And I just remember always kind of just as a kid being in awe of this man, an older man. Who was Nado to you?
He helped me become who I am as a man. Even that, as his son, I used to have to sit in that. In that barbershop weekend sometimes. But to be honest, it was good because, as you know, barbershops, it's always conversations, isn't it? It's always good conversations happening and insightful conversations happening. And usually it's about us and us bettering ourselves and getting into depth. So he basically built me up as a man. My principles, my pride. As you said, he's a man of pride, so I'm a man of pride. As you said, he always treated everyone with love. If they sat in a chair, he always treated them with love. Even just everyone in the shop, you get me? So that's where I kind of got my my humanitarian traits from. Wanted to see good for everyone, man. For everyone to. That's why I put out this stuff. That's why I put out energy forward to start promoting people to move forward. That's why I put out the podcast. People can watch it and help heal themselves, and it's gonna help different people in different ways. You get me? This is where all this comes from. From loving myself. And when you love yourself, you should love everyone else. So sometimes you find that if you come across someone that's even a woman, no matter or friendship, whatever, is finding it hard to love you, or they find it hard to show love because they lack the love within themselves. That's why they're unable to push it out. So that's my journey. And my dad always said to love yourself, man. Love your neighbor, love your brother, and just unite. You get me? And all this killing. He was against all that black and black killing, all this stuff. You get me? So this is where I got a lot of these traits from.
What was one of your fondest memories of your father?
I don't know, Maybe just going to his on the weekends, you get me, and him just being him, playing his music, doing his little dances, you get me? As I was a kid, just trying to make me laugh and stuff. So he's a stand-up man. He stood for what he believed in. And
what was he like as a grandfather to your kids, the girls?
Yeah, man, he was loving grandfather. Yeah, he loved his grandchildren. He just loved innit. Yeah, that's his thing. He was a lover innit. One love innit. So but man, he loved his grandkids and he was always looking out for them. So man, it's a blessing.
Are there any sort of like random places or objects that remind you of Nado? I know that, to me, Finsbury Park, Aquarius is definitely a place that always reminds me.
Just the whole of Finsbury Park will just always remind me of, because what you got to remember is, my dad grew up in Finsbury Park, you get me? My grandmum lived in Finsbury Park, you get me? His mum lived on Stroud Green Road, you get me? So that's where he actually grew up, you get me? So that's finding a foundation for him and that section, you get me? So when it comes to Finsbury Park, he's known there, innit? You know, them ones there. So just the whole of Finsbury Park, you get me? Because that's where he grew up, and that's majority of a lot of people know him around there. So.
Do you know if your father was cutting hair from a young man? Is that something that he's always wanted to do?
I know he was an engineer and he was doing some mechanics, some car stuff before, and then he transitioned to the barbering thing. I'm not too sure exactly how the transition took place, but I know that was the route, that was his journey.
Yeah. And obviously at funerals, there's always a lot of speeches and people always kind of want to give tributes and stuff like that. Was there anything that kind of stood out for you that you knew about your father, that you learned of your father at the funeral or now that you never knew before?
Not really, to be honest. Dad wasn't someone that hid how he felt. Yeah, whatever was on his mind, majority of the time, you knew how he felt. If he didn't like you, he ain't gonna hide it and pretend like you're cool. He would have probably spoke to you about it. So there's nothing really surprising. Just emphasised on maybe what I already knew, I would say.
How have you been able to deal with the trauma of losing him, with the loss of losing him?
It's just another growth, another hurdle in my journey. It's another chapter in my growth. As I said, we go through dark places to grow. So it's a dark place I had to go to and accept, to see the light and to see it in a better way and to try to see it in a more positive way. You know, that's never easy to accept, but it's part of life, innit? So everyone's got to go through it, innit? And that's just part of the ups and downs of life, innit? Life's never just all good, innit? And even if it is all good for someone, they still have to experience death, innit? So yeah, it was a journey. I wasn't ready for it, but I had to come, and it come. And I got through it, you know. It was hard. There's a lot of dark days, you know. I'm still going through it. Like, you know, the one day it's been like 6 months, innit? So, yeah, so I'm still here, but I've accepted it and I've come to terms with it. And I've got to think of the person he is and what he would have wanted in this time as well. It's not all about me. Get me? I could just go into a show and be, oh, nice, and just shut the curtains and stay in my house and just... But he wouldn't have wanted that. So, yeah, man, life goes on, innit? Everything's a learning curve.
Is there a lot of similarities between yourself and Nado in the sense of your personalities? Because you always seem to be a very much calm and peaceful kind of person. Like, you don't necessarily show too much emotion. And obviously, you know, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is how you've been able to deal with the grief. Like, you know, and I'm sure you've had your moments, but what platform do you use for those who may be worried about what you're like now? Because, you know, the thing that people seem to don't understand is that when you have the funeral process and the burial, and then when everyone's gone, so you're left to your own device, you're by yourself. And that's probably, for me, probably been one of the hardest processes, and I'm sure it probably has for you as well, where, you know, when the crowd goes away and you're kind of left by yourself, you're kind of like, what do I do now? What's been your coping mechanism?
You know what, to be honest, like, me having been in jail has actually helped me, because I spent time by myself and I had to deal with a lot of stuff by myself, like, so sometimes people's coping mechanism, like, they need people in it, like, so I don't really need no one. I can actually deal with it on my own. I'm quite calm on my own side. I'm cool with being around people, but as I said before, I'm an introvert, innit, so certain times I can recoup by myself, innit, you get me? So it just being that way just gave me space to just process everything. You get me? And I kind of needed that space just to be away from. Sometimes I needed to be away from things as well, just to process it on my own, just without no influence, because everyone deals with it differently. You know what I mean? So some people might be like, depending on how you want it, might be like, come out, you come out. I might not want to be around bare people. You know, them ones there.
Yeah.
It might not help my healing journey, innit? So I able to understand me, innit? So, but yeah, and it's all the test, man. Because a lot of times, sometimes at death as well, like family have little disagreements and stuff as well, innit? So yeah, it was a test, but I come through it, and I'm here, and the future's looking bright, and yeah, and I've got another angel looking over me. You know what I mean? Guiding me, another spirit. So it's all good. So yeah, so basically I think this is basically, so everything that happens to me is just guiding me towards my purpose in life, innit? That's how I feel it. And before I was chasing like money and shit, I think, but now I'm not really chasing money yet. I'm just chasing what connects with the inner me. And then just like maybe you do, it's the way I think, I don't know. Like, people shouldn't be working just for money's sake.
No, absolutely not.
But some people think that, innit? And you're never really gonna get true happiness, and that's not your purpose. Your purpose isn't just to work for money, innit? So everything I do now is just basically in time with my purpose. It's not for money, like, cause money will always come, man. Money will come in it. As long as you, whatever you're doing, money will come in it. It might come different levels, but it will come in it. So that's everything I do now. It's just part of the purpose. And everyone that I've had on my podcast is someone that I rate and look up to in some way and can bring some value which someone else can learn that's watching it. So I'm giving in it. It's good energy that I'm trying to give in it. But yeah, that's it. But I like your thing as well because I see that what you're doing is you're working with the kids as well. You get me?
Yeah.
How did that come around? Because that's what I like. Because I know when you're doing that, you're actually getting something back as well, innit? Yeah. You know, them ones there.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't know this, that the reason why I fell in love working with young people is, see, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I spent a lot of time out in the States.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
And there was a lot of things happening with my family in the sense of just them sort of dipping into the gang violence. That whole area was just messed up. And I always said, I'm going to try and figure out a way that we can kind of change this, where it'll be a lot safer for my cousins and myself to go outside and play, just various different things.
Yeah.
And then I played American football for a while as well.
I remember.
And as I played American football off season, we would, do things for the community, we'd do little things, trying to kind of help rehabilitate people. And then I was like, I want to do something that's going to give back. Yeah. And then someone introduced to me an organization called The Challenge. It was years ago. It was a David Cameron incentive where we could work with young people in schools and stuff like that, and do like residential programs. And I just fell in love with it. Okay. And I thought, you know what, all right, this is not going to be a real job, it'll be something I'll do on the side because I always believe in giving back. And it comes from a biblical sense in terms of offering tithes, giving back, and it'll sow back to you. Do you know what I'm saying? Trust. In some way, some form, right? And my journey just continued from there, and I've worked with the King's Trust and to now working with another youth organization called Go Forward. And it's all about working with young people because I feel like not only are they the next generation, but they're the young people who just inspire us and can teach us a whole lot more about how the world's run now. And we always find ourselves having to keep up, whether we're having to use technology with Instagram, where we're having to use the chat GPS to GPT, whatever, to laptops, whatever. You're always gonna. I find even it's funny because I always see my mum struggling to use a mobile phone, but she asks either myself or she asks the grandkids, and they're always helping her upload something. Yeah. And their stories as well is crazy because we've had these conversations as well where we had the freedom to walk out your home and march around the streets and gallivant, as we call it. And to now, this generation doesn't have that freedom. They can't just walk out their house and go, like, where are you going? You can't even walk outside your postcode. Yeah, for real. Do you know what I'm saying? Without being threatened with knife crime or something going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So we need to protect them because they're our future. There are the next generation. They're the ones that are going to have to carry the torch, unfortunately.
Definitely.
So it's about equipping them with the right tools, helping them, instilling them certain values that we were instilled with growing up. So giving back is so important to me, man. It really, really is. I can go on and on about it, but there are people out there that need our help. Do you know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't hurt to give back. And what you're doing right now in terms of this platform and this podcast right here, where you're allowing your guests to come on here and talk about their experiences, whether it's from religion to relationships to whatever that, you know, life experiences.
Yeah.
That's giving back.
100%.
Because there's someone else out there that's watching that could be connected to that journey and that conversation. And even them watching now and listening to your story, there's a connection some way, somehow. And there's somewhere that they can find help or seek help from the information that you've shared.
No, 100%.
So yeah, it's a big thing, man.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So what do you think the world needs right now to heal it?
Oh, man. There's so much. There's so much substance that the world needs, man. You know, from, I'd say personally, God, you know, the world needs a huge deliverance, man. And I think there's a few people that actually are starting to find it through different circumstances. Look what's happening in LA at the moment in terms of, you know, it burning down, the fires, do you know what I'm saying, to, you know, what's happening in the Congo and what's happening around the world. Like, there's so many, you know, Palestine and Israel. There was all these different things happening that people are now starting to wake up and realize, you know what, I need God. Human beings have failed me. You know what I mean? You know, AI's failed me. Trump has failed me. All these different people have failed me. But like Elon Musk has failed me. Do you know what I'm saying? I need to seek a higher power. And people are taking that opportunity, that chance. So, you know, celebrities are failing us. You know, look what's going on with Diddy and even Jay-Z now. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't know what the outcome is of that, but it just shows you that you're not too powerful to be knocked down. You know, you could be on your high horse today, but then tomorrow you could be rolling around in the sand because something's come to light. So
yeah, definitely. That's it. So you reap what you sow, what you put, as I said before, what you put out there, it's gonna eventually come back to you.
Yeah, good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
Put bad stuff out there, you might be able to hide it for a little while, but eventually it's gonna come. Yeah. Come for you.
That's it.
That's what I would say. Definitely. So basically, I think everyone needs to get on God's side.
That's right.
And there's a thin line.
There is, man.
All right. Any last? What is this?
Any last words? No. Thank you for having me on this platform.
No, definitely.
It's been very, very insightful. Obviously,
anything you wanted to delve into that I didn't touch on?
Nope.
Into more depth? Are you good?
Yeah? We are all good. Yeah.
Yeah?
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Peeps.
Come on. Till next time.
Till next time, peeps. Truth and Bantz, we out.
Peace.